everyone. I hope you all are as excited as I am, my dear CMA inter students who are going to start on this beautiful journey of learning law. Of course, in 100% English with me. But before we jump on to what we have to study, how we have to study, I'm sure you're filled with a lot of questions and apprehensions, ma'am. What should be our approach, like how we are going to study? Should we make a copy? Should we make notes? Should we do this? Should we do that? Right? So I know there is a lot that you need to know before we step into this journey of learning law, right? And because there are a lot of students who might be very new to me. There are few who have done the foundation journey also with me, but there are majority of the students are new to me, right? So you need to know me, and of course I need to know you, right? So this first class, or you can call this more of an orientation or introduction class, we will not exactly jump on to the specific and core topics. However, I will give you a brief intro of the same, right? But before all that, first of all, congratulations. Congratulations for clearing the first step, right? You have successfully cleared CMA Foundation. And CMA Foundation, although it is only foundation, but as you grow, as you progress, as you mature, as you turn out into a professional, you will realize that, okay, foundation was very easy, but right now I know how much hard work you must have put in to clear that particular stage. So you definitely deserve to be applauded. So kudos to you, your parents, your mentors, whoever was around you, whoever guided you, and of course your hard work, right? But now, I don't want you to be scared, right? And I don't want you to be anxious. But having said that, you have to realize that foundation was an altogether different journey, and the journey that you're going to start from now on, right? Inter, if you're targeting only group 1 or group 2, whatever is your target. Maybe it's too early to talk about the targets right now. Right now, you're just starting with the journey, and later on, we'll see what we can achieve, right? But still, whatever, let's say, supposedly we're talking about group 1, there are 4 subjects, and all are difficult ones. They will all need your undivided time and attention, right? Because I have said this a lot of times, and I'll repeat it once more over here, that although it's not advisable, but supposedly you have 4 girlfriends, then you need to devote, if not equal, maybe almost equal time and attention to all the 4 girlfriends. Otherwise, you lose one, right? In the same way, if you have 4 subjects, if you have 8 subjects, you need to devote, if not equal, maybe a little less, a little more, but you have to devote a lot of time to all the subjects to get hold on them, right? So the first life lesson, I am going to take all my subjects seriously, right? This is the first thing that we have established, right? And we are going to follow no matter what happens. Okay, now this is the new batch that we're starting with. And although I have already uploaded this batch details video, all those who haven't watched this, I want you to have a brief view, because if you're enrolling for this particular batch, you have to know and you have to understand a few things, right? This particular batch that I am taking right now, or what we're talking right now, is 100% English batch. Although we also have started, we are about to start, rather I should say, a mix of Hindi and English. That is a Hinglish batch for upcoming June 25 and December 25 examination, right? In this particular batch, we have started English first. So the lectures or the classes will start from 1st January 2025. You will be shared a link wherein the uploading will be done on a continuous basis, so there won't be any obstruction in your learning flow, right? So once you're done with the class, there will be another class uploaded, right? So that is how uploading will go on till 30th April 2025. So by the end of April, you will have all your classes with you, right? Now, what about the books? Right, the same goes for a English batch also, that we'll discuss in the English batch, right? The first lecture of English batch. Now, What about the study material? See, you will be getting 6 books. Okay, there is a set of 6 books. The first, now, one sec. There is a disclaimer that I need to give you right away, because whenever I say 6 books, oh my god, ma'am, we have 4 papers in group one already. One paper is divided into direct taxation and direct taxation. Now in law, we have to read 6 books. Oh my god, how will I study? No, you don't have to think about all that, because ideally, your entire syllabus has been divided in such a manner that once you read it, the entire syllabus is covered in just 2 books. Okay, so once you're done with that, then you practice questions from the other 2 books, you revise from the next book, and you appear for test from the last book, right? So it's not just that you have to read 6 books, you just have to read the same content in different manners so as to prepare you excel in your examination, right? So there are 2 main books which actually comprises the entire syllabus according to ICMAI study math, strictly according to ICMAI study math. Then you have 2 question banks where you will have the MCQs, you will have case-based questions, you will have direct questions, which include your study material question, which includes your past year paper questions, your mock test MQPs, right? That is being released by the institute. All the questions are incorporated over there. Then there is one chart book which is for revision purpose, and then in this attempt we are also launching a test series book. So once you're done with 1 chapter or 2 chapter, there will be a test. You have to appear for that test, right? And the test and the suggested answers have been given in a beautiful manner, so you can self-evaluate it without any difficulty, and then you can monitor your progress and go on, right? So it will not happen that, okay, at the end of the day we have completed the entire syllabus and oh my god, I don't remember anything, right? So there are a lot of things that we need to interact in this particular class. So consider this class more of an introduction or orientation session, right? Because here we are not going to discuss the core provisions. We'll start with some introduction, some basics, but not entirely the core provision. That will start with the next class. Okay, so here we are going to talk a lot, right? But you have to listen to me very carefully, okay? And you have to follow everything very carefully, fine? Okay, so this is what is going to be provided. But of course, the books are in printing. They're not ready yet. So the books will be dispatched mid-Jan 2025. And once it is dispatched, it takes around 7 to 10 days to reach your doorstep, right? So you'll have to wait till then. But ma'am, how will we start with the classes? Then how will we study? So for the initial chapters, we'll be providing you PDF. And once our release or once our material is ready with us, after that, if you're placing any order, then you'll not be given PDF, and then the book dispatch will take place. Okay. Doubt support, of course, you'll get my WhatsApp number once you have enrolled, and we can connect and you can ask any doubt anytime, right? There is a reply time which everything will be given to you, and I will reply accordingly. You can also send me a voice note. Calling facility is not available for a certain reason. I hope you understand that. But yes, at times when I feel, okay, this particular student is not able to understand through voice note, I myself give you a call, right? So most probably your queries will be answered via text, voice note, or in rare situations, even a call. Okay, the class duration is approximately 150 hours, in which we will have a conceptual understanding, that is the detailed class, then question and answer discussion wherein you will learn answer writing, and then there will be revision video after every chapter, so that in one video the entire chapter and content is summarized and it is refreshed in your mind. Now, many students ask me, ma'am, why you are not taking this live batch, right? And why is it a recorded batch? For many reasons. We have experienced that in live batch, the duration unnecessarily gets extended, which is a problem for you only because you have to study a lot of things, right? So, secondly, if you think and feel that, okay, ma'am, in live batch, what happens? There are 2 problems, right? What happens is simultaneously our doubt gets resolved. So simultaneously your doubt won't get resolved. Why? Because if continuously I'm talking to the students, I'm not able to deliver the concept, right? And you will feel irritated. If you want to ask a doubt, fine, but then there are hundreds other students also who want to ask the doubt in between, and they'll be like, oh, why is he asking that? It is so simple. So you will be irritated. At times the other person will be irritated, at times you will be irritated. So it's better that the entire concept is delivered with examples, with a lot of fun and everything. And now if you haven't understood anything, you note it, just drop a WhatsApp, ma'am will reply. Perfect. That works, right? So this is one major problem which we have seen come across. The second is, ma'am, if it is a live class, we will be disciplined. How? How do you think you will be disciplined? And why do you think you need a live class to be disciplined? My dear students, you have chosen a course which only requires discipline and consistency to succeed. Trust me, no matter how good you are at studies, if you're not disciplined, if you're not consistent, you will struggle to pass. Trust me on this. And if you're not very well at studies, you're not a meritorious student, you're not academically very bright, but you have been observing discipline and consistency. These two terms, remember, it will take you places. If you're observing these two, then there are very bright chances that you will succeed. Of course, you have to work hard, but there are very bright chances that you'll succeed. So this is a life skill that you have to learn for your own good, right? So it doesn't matter whether it's a live class or it's a recorded class. You have to fix your time that, okay, this is the time which I've devoted to law, and I'm going to watch a particular class for 1 hour, right? And whatever ma'am says thereafter, I'm going to do that. So these 2 hours are devoted for law. Unfortunately, if for some random day there is some other plan which has been made, I have the flexibility. I can do 2 classes. I can do 3 classes. If I have to go somewhere, I can finish 3-4 classes in advance, right? So there is a lot of flexibility when you get recorded classes also. Okay, so for all those reasons, we are providing you strict studio recordings. Of course, that doesn't mean they are going to be boring, but yes, your time will not be wasted. Okay, and all the facilities, all the features will be intact. Okay, and the rest of the details you can see, and you can also coordinate with this number if you want to get in touch, right? Okay, so that was about the batch details. Now, we have to, actually, I have to tell you a lot of things. First of all, so before you decide what to eat and how to eat, you should basically know what's in your plate, right? The CMA Institute is serving you with. So basically, CMA Institute is serving us with this particular menu, right? Paper 5, Business Laws and Ethics is divided into 4 sections. Section A, Commercial Laws, which has a weightage of 30%, in which there are many repeated topics and chapters which you have already dealt at the foundation level, right? So if I'm talking about Indian Contract Act, if I'm talking about SOGA, right, you have done this before. Section B is the Industrial Law, which has a weightage of 15%. Factories Act, Payment of Gratuity Act, EPF, ESI, Code on Wages, a lot of chapters which actually excites you, relates you to the real life ground problems that the workers in the industries are facing, what are the laws that have been made for them. So you will connect a lot with these chapters, right? The major weightage or the coverage is Section C, Corporate Laws, in which you have to read Companies Act. Corporate law and company law is not the same. Okay, so you have to, under corporate laws, you have to read just one act, which is Companies Act, and that too you don't have to read in entirety because Companies Act is huge. You only have to read prima facie till section 122. But there are a lot more sections also, some sections related to directors. I will take you through that course coverage, everything. You just listen to me patiently one by one. You will get the answer to all your queries, right? Okay. So that is 40%. And then you have section D, which is business ethics and emotional intelligence, which covers 15%. This is something which students are like, Mom, I have to, I don't like reading ethics. But trust me, this is something which is like God's blessing to you, because there's very little coverage, plus there is something which you can write on your own also, and it has a coverage of 15%, so it's good. Okay, so from where will we start this, ma'am? How are we going to approach? How are we going to proceed? To tell you that, to make you understand that, I'll ask you one question. How do you see yourself 1 year down the line, right? So preparing you for that interview rounds. No, that is something which is actually, oh, this is not your file, right? Yes, this is your file and this is your file, right? Okay. So basically, how do you see yourself 1 year down the line? Why am I asking you this? Because I have seen a lot of students, when they are starting with a particular subject, they're all excited. So they will be equally excited as I am, right? They will be having a lot of different pens, a copy, highlighter, everything all set on the table. So the class is on, there is a glass of water, right? Everything is set. One class, two class, three class, four class, five class, six class. Okay, now what happens is anxious. There is a lot of anxiety. There is a, not after six class. This usually happens after 30, 40 classes, I would say. Right? There is anxiety, or even after finishing the entire course. So once they are doing all the classes, they're happily doing all the classes. And once they're done with all the classes, just before exams, there will be a lot of anxiety. There will be a lot of pressure. Oh, ma'am, I'm forgetting everything. When I was doing classes, I used to recall everything. Now I'm not able to recall anything. I think the entire law I have forgotten how to do, what to do. There are students like that also. And there are students who have this calm peace of mind, who are very sorted, who know exactly what they're doing, who know how they're doing, and who have this confidence that, yes, I'm going to make it. So, what is the difference? You have basically two ways, right? Basically. So, there are two ways how you can start with the subject. The very first one, you're watching a lecture. You're watching the lecture with some distractions. Distractions means you have your smartphone around. Every time it beeps, you're checking on a message. So when you're checking that message, you missed out one small point which I was telling you. There is no regularity. So today you're watching a particular lecture, and maybe after 3-4 days you saw the second class. So the gap of 3-4 days actually somehow takes you far from the concept that I delivered in the very first class, right? So you'll not be able to relate. Third, you are not doing any revision, no practice. Before exams, there was a quick revision. You revise the entire subject. But what will happen? You will struggle to get marks. And then you think, I tried my best, but why, ma'am, this is not happening? Why I'm not able to get good marks in law? I'm telling you the ground level practicality and reality of what the seniors have shared, what you might be able to face, right? So, no, dear. Your first mistake happened on the day you picked up the subject. What you should have done it, or what you should do. How do you do it? The very first thing I request everyone, if you do not have a copy, get a copy. Which type of copy? I would rather prefer these type of plain copies which are not ruled notebooks, right? So the ones which are plain, because we make a lot of charts and all, right? But if you are somebody who has a very poor handwriting and no alignment, then you prefer take a ruled notebook only. So one notebook is very much needed right from the very first class till the last class. There has to be notebook with you, okay? So in that notebook, you will give a good heading, Paper 5 CMA Inter Law. Right? That is how we call it, lovingly. Okay. Now, the class duration is going to be approximately 150 hours. Right? So let's say every day you are going to go for a class of or you're going to watch a particular lecture of 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 2 hours, whatever, right? Plus, there has to be half an hour revision and writing. I will tell you exactly what you have to do, what you have to learn. I will tell you everything. So, roughly 90 days, very comfortably, you will be able to excel in this particular subject. What you have to and what you must have is a copy that I told you, two highlighters. One highlighter is also fine, but I suggest two highlighters of two different colors, right? So they have to be of two different colors. One is going to be highlighting all the important dates and days. Like this has to be done within 30 days. So this has to be highlighted, and the other important, be it keyword, be it any other important provision, that is going to be highlighted with the other color, so that once you are even revising, you will have this clear. Okay, now when you watch a particular class, when you start a particular lecture, make sure that there is a discipline that you're observing. You are never going to watch this lecture while you're lying on your bed. Never ever you are going to do this, right? So every day there has to be a timing which is fixed. Everyone in your family should know that you're doing a class, right? So unless there is something really important and urgent, they should not disturb you. It should not happen like it's happening in current day work from home meetings, right? So if you're doing a Zoom call, somebody is shouting, go get this, go get that, right? So that environment should not be created. It's something which is serious. Okay, so this should be made clear to everyone around you. You should put your smartphone aside unless you're doing class in that smartphone only, right? So you should put it aside. So your entire focus should be on the class. Now, no matter how hard we try, and there are a lot of humor, up, down, examples, engaging moments, everything. There are times when there is a serious concept going on and which is taking around half an hour or 40 minutes. And then sometimes you might feel that, oh, I'm tired, I'm feeling lazy, or I'm feeling something, and you tend to lose interest, right? What happens? You are somehow deluded, right? Now, how do you maintain that focus at that particular point of time? For that, you have this copy, right? So this copy is not going to be used for making short notes. No, I don't want you to make short notes. We are providing you short notes, right? And we are providing you organized short notes. This copy, the purpose is scribbling to maintain focus. Scribbling doesn't mean you're making mandala art or something. No, right? Scribbling means whatever I'm writing, supposedly I've made a particular chart, you also draw that chart, no matter it is there in your short notes or not, you also do that, right? I gave you an example, you also write that example, keep writing with me, keep writing extra points, keep scribbling, right? So keep that. Till the time you're writing also, you'll not feel sleepy. First thing, because it is law, right? It is undoubtedly somehow at the end of the day, it is 90% a theoretical subject, right? So you have to do that. Secondly, you have to keep a glass of water. So you will keep on taking small sips of water, right? The second purpose of this copy is to refer. Supposedly, there is a one difficult concept, and I have given you 3 examples to explain that concept. You understood that very well. Now, where are those examples? Ma'am, in our mind. Now, the mind has a very short-lived memory. Just before your exams, you again got stuck in that particular concept. Now, maybe your classes have expired, right? You can always ask out, but it's a long concept that cannot be solved over the call, maybe, or like that, right? So, you want it to be in a detailed manner. What you can do is, you can refer to your copy, you can look at those 3 examples if you have noted them down, and it's sorted, it's solved, right? So the copy, maintaining this copy serves 2 purposes. Fine. So before we begin with the class, you should be ready with a copy, to highlighter and a pen, right? No change of pens is needed. Just maintain neat copy, okay? Scribbling doesn't mean the copy is not going to be neat, right? Okay. So what we are going to do is focused regular class. After the class, you are going to recall the same concept. Today you will know that there is a difference between revise and recall. So in law, if you're studying from me, we don't revise, we recall. And I never advise you to revise. You always have to recall. You can always revise before recalling, but recalling is something which is mandatory. Now, what is recalling? Right? When you look at a particular book, right, and you see a particular paragraph, let's say we look at this and we see this. Okay. We are seeing what is common seal. Common seal is the official signature of a company, blah, 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 blah. Right? So what are we doing? We are revising. But when we cover this and then we see what is common seal, official signature, this, my dear, is recalling. So after we are done with the class, right? You have read whatever ma'am taught you, you have read that. After that, what you'll do is recall. Okay, ma'am told us 3 sections today in the class. How buyback is done, or okay, if any person enters into a contract with a minor, what will be the position, right? So you have to recall all the points. Okay, I'm able to recall 5 points. If you do that, my dear, trust me, it is going to make a lot of difference. So you have to recall, you have to write one question. Once the chapter ends, there will be a revision class. You watch this, you recall, you solve 4 to 5 questions, whatever I've given you, and then appear for the test. Then move to the next chapter. Trust me, if you're going to follow this particular protocol, if you are an average student, very easily you can get 60 plus. If you're a weak student, very easily you can get 50 plus. And if you are a bright student, then of course, very easily you can get 70 plus. And on top of it, if you work hard, this is the easiest thing I'm telling you, that if you just keep on doing the class in this manner, you can easily get this course. And on top of it, if you're willing to work harder, then of course, sky is the limit. There are many students who have scored 83, 84, 85 marks in CMA Inter Law, right? So this is going to be this can be one of your strength, right? So study like this continuously for at least 3 chapters and then see for yourself. My dear, your success, your mark sheet, right, that is going to make everyone proud is waiting. It's ready. Are you ready? Are you ready to make this happen? Yes, ma'am, we are ready. Right? And this particular spirit, this excitement, what you're feeling right now, you have to maintain it till the end. Discipline, consistency, right? This is going to take you places. Okay. So we basically know what is in our syllabus. We have commercial laws, we have industrial laws, we have corporate laws, and we have ethics, right? Corporate laws has 40% coverage. And we are going to start with corporate laws only for one simple reason. It has a wide coverage. And if I start with commercial laws, that is something, because whenever you start with a particular subject, you devote more energy, you are more involved, right? So anything new excites you more, whether it's a person, whether it's a book, right? Whether it's some food that you're tasting. So anything new excites you more. So commercial laws is something that a lot of content you have read before, right? So I don't want that your energy is your high energy is channelized into something which you already know, right? So we are going to start with company law, which holds a lot of importance, of course, and is something which is new to you. Okay, fine. Now, if you look at your CMA foundation syllabus, there also you have got an introduction to law, right? If you look at this inter-syllabus, here also you will see that the first chapter under commercial laws is introduction to law and legal system in India. So there are a lot of things that I will be telling you about law, about legal system, how it works, and a lot of things about constitution basically in this particular chapter, right? So that is something which is not very general and a lot to learn. So that we'll do later. Right now, right now, right now. Right here, right now. What are we going to do, ma'am? We are going to first have a quick understanding of what is law. Law is a set of rules, right? It may be enforced by state or some statutory authority or by some authority, whatever it be, right? That is what exactly law is, set of rules and regulations. Much wider term than act. But then, when we talk about the Gen Z, I hope you know Gen Z, Gen Alpha and everyone, right? What generation do you belong to? So, it will say, my life, my rules. Why am I going to follow anyone else's rules? I mean, how can somebody else make rules for me? My parents make rules every day and I break them every day. So how am I going to follow the rules which are made by some XYZ? Right? So why? There should be something which tells them that, okay, no, you have to follow the rules. When you are driving on a road and there is a traffic signal which says red, you have to stop, my dear. They cannot say that, how am I supposed to follow the rule which has been made by you? I don't know who bloody hell has made this particular rule. I'm not going to follow it. I'm not going to stop my vehicle. You cannot say that. Why you cannot say that? Why you cannot say that? It's very important to know. Of course, we cannot say that, ma'am. But why you cannot say that? Right? Because these rules are not made by somebody else, but these rules are made by you only. You are making rules for your own self. If there is a family of 10 persons, everyone in majority decides, okay, this is going to be cooked for dinner tonight. So you have agreed, everyone, supposedly the majority has agreed, so it is bound to everyone. Likewise, when we are talking about the entire nation, whatever rule is being made, it is agreed by the majority and has to be bound on everyone. Everyone is bound by those laws. Ma'am, how majority? Whenever we want to make a particular law for a family of 10, we can ask everyone. But if we want to make a law for a nation of 140 crore people, we cannot ask everyone. Oh my God, do you agree that we should put this much GST on caramelized popcorn? No, we don't agree, right? Or we agree, whatever it be, right? It cannot be asked to everyone. So what has been done is the entire population, the entire nation has been divided into different constituencies, right? These people elect one representative. This representative goes to Lok Sabha, which is House of People, right? And then basically they are the ones who are making rules, right? So they are somehow law-making authority. So they are deciding and they are making rules for the entire nation. So we have given them, those representatives, the power, okay, go and take decision on my behalf. So they're taking the decision on your behalf. Now you're bound by the decision, right? So you have to follow no matter what. Now, what if we don't make law? Nobody will be able to live. It is very important to maintain peace and harmony in a civilized society. There are a lot of rules that you need to follow. If you are living in a particular family, right, and everyone is doing what they want, then a family cannot run, forget the nation, right? So we need law, definitely. Now, when India got independence, then of course, the India's constitution was drafted. We will read a lot about the constitution in under commercial law. So right now I'm not discussing and I'm not getting into those details, right? But then it is a document which tells you a lot of things. India is the democratic nation, right? Who is going to be the lawmaking authority? Every citizen is going to have these fundamental rights. There is a lot of things which are being written in Constitution. Constitution also says, it also says that there are certain matters which concern the entire nation, like India's defense, railways, which is connecting the entire nation. So there are a lot of matters which concerns the entire nation. And for that, the Constitution has conferred the power on Parliament to make laws. Laws means set of rules and regulations, right? So how railways will run, what is going to be the fare, how it is going to be calculated, what, etc., etc., all those things. Who is going to make law? Parliament is going to make law. What is Parliament, ma'am? What is Parliament? Parliament comprises of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and President. What is Lok Sabha? Lok Sabha, I already told you that if I am a citizen, right, I am going to vote at two elections. One is going to be the state elections and one is going to be the Lok Sabha elections, which we also called as central elections, right? What is happening? I am electing a person from my constituency only, right? And that particular person is going to become the member of parliament and sit in Lok Sabha, which is also called as House of People, right? Then we also have the state elections and we have some representatives within that state. There are members of state legislative assembly, which we also call as MLA, right? Members of legislative assembly. Now they actually elect certain representatives and they sit in Rajya Sabha. And then a president is elected. You all know that president is somehow the head of the entire nation. So parliament means these three: Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and president. Right? Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and president. So somehow what is happening is everyone's views in different ways are incorporated and taken in forming a central law. Right? So when we are talking about this member of parliament, whichever party has the majority of members, that party becomes the ruling party and they form their own government at the central level. That central government which is formed, government at the central level which is being formed, that is responsible for enforcement and execution of laws. It's not responsible for making of laws. However, since they have the majority, they also have the majority of passing those laws. So ultimately, when we say, okay, Narendra Modi has made this law, it is in a way correct and in a way incorrect, because he is not somebody who has the authority to make law. It is all the members of Lok Sabha, all the members of Rajya Sabha and the president. So we need to have majority here, and he needs to give his assent. Only then a law can be passed when we are talking about central laws, right? So there is and this I have already told you. This also I have already told you. When we talk about state laws, although we are not reading state laws over here, so I'll skip this. So there is a bill which can be introduced in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Once it is passed in Lok Sabha, it goes to Rajya Sabha, or if it is introduced in Rajya Sabha, once it is passed in Rajya Sabha, it goes to Lok Sabha. Once it is passed through both the houses, then it goes to the president. He gives his assent and that becomes the act. This becomes an act. Basically, a lot of things over here which I am telling you, it's a quick recall and brief because I know many of you know this already, and those who don't know, you must know this, because when we are reading law, you should know certain basics also, right? Okay. So this is how it works and this is how law is being made. So if I am talking about companies, right? You know what is the company? Company is just another form of business organization, probably something which you have studied at the in business studies also. That okay, if I want to start a particular business, I can do it proprietorship. There could be partnership. There could be LLP. There could be a company, right? So we know this somehow. So, company is a type of business organization that if I want to start a business, I can form a company and I can do this. But if you want to form a company, how do you form a company? There is company law for the same. If you want to run a company, how do you run a company? If you want to change the name of the company, how do you change the name of the company? So, for everything, law is being made. How is it being made? Just like any central act is passed, there is also a Companies Act 2013 which is passed. Right? How is it passed? Who has the authority to pass such law? Because it is a matter which is not exactly, I would say, stated in the union list. There is a residual entry. So, by using that, Parliament has got the power from this union list residual entry and has made this Companies Act, has passed this Companies Act 2013. Okay, using this power. Fine, which we will be reading about for the very first chapter. Fine. Okay. Now, supposedly the law has been made. So there are traffic rules which have been made, right? Now, nobody is following that. Who is responsible for enforcing those laws? Who is responsible for execution? Who is responsible for seeing that the laws made are followed or not? That is the ruling central government, which works through different ministries. Every ministry is headed by a minister, right? Like we have, maybe if you're talking Nirmala Sitharaman, right? Ministry of Finance, it's headed by her, right? Ministry of Corporate Affairs is headed by her. This is very important for us. MCA. Throughout entire Companies Act, we will be reading this MCA, MCA, MCA. What is MCA? You'll get to know everything. Okay. So there is a ministry which is dealing with all the matters of finance. It is headed by that minister. So she is called as finance minister. All the ministers, the leader of all the ministers or all the ministers are headed by prime minister. So that's how it works, right? So these people are responsible for their own genre, right? Okay. So, to run corporates effectively, one of the central acts, Companies Act 2013, is passed by Parliament using its power from residual entry of union list. I've already told you. So, my dear, when I am talking about Companies Act has been passed by who has made this law? Parliament has made this law, right? Now, who is responsible for execution of this law? That, okay, we have made that companies are to be formed this way only. Companies have to submit this information. Are the companies actually submitting this information? Yes or no? So that enforcement is being done, that execution is being done through the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, which is being headed by a minister, right? So that is done by MCA, right? Whenever I am talking about the government, it has basically three organs or three wings. One is the legislative, which makes laws. One is the executive, which enforces law. And one is the judiciary, which actually interprets law and solves the problems, right? So here the judiciary is NCLT, NCLAT, special courts. I will tell you and you will gradually know about this all. Fine. I think so far the things are clear. So basically, when I say Companies Act 2013, which has been passed by Parliament, you have to understand that that is not the complete solution. Okay. Supposedly, try to understand it very carefully. Supposedly, it's being told that if you want to form a company, if you want to form a company, file form with central government, right? Now, if I am a business woman and I want to form a particular company, where do I go? Central government means what? There has to be a specific office designated for the same, that okay, if I want to form a company, I will go there, I will take a form which they provide me, I'll fill that form, I'll give it to them, and then thereafter the company will be formed, or I'll go to the court where I have to go, what has to be done. So you have to understand that when we're talking about the ground level, the things need to be sorted, right? So if Companies Act is formed, Companies Act is passed. Companies Act 2013 is passed by Parliament. It tells us about everything. Who can incorporate a company, that is, who can form a company, when can you form a company, how can you form a company, how do you run a company, how do you raise funds, how does company function, right? How company is going to take decisions. Everything is being clearly told in that rule book, right? But it cannot function alone, right? Supposedly we say that okay, Companies Act 2013 has prescribed a form A, okay, and it tells that okay, go and file with an authority somebody called as ROC. Right now you don't know what an ROC is, you'll not even understand. Just listen to me carefully, okay? So if you want to form a company, file this form A with ROC. Now what happens? Okay, we are filing form A. Now you want to change this particular form, right? Because the times have changed, the requirements have changed, we need more information. This is creating a problem. So you change the form and you make it to form B. Now, just because you want to make this form A to form B, this means there is an amendment in the act. You want to amend the rule book, you want to amend one particular clause, one word of that rule book, that is an act. Just like an act is passed, a bill is being introduced in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, it passes through both houses, president gives you the assent, and that is not just, that is a very short procedure which I have told you right now. We will read the procedure in detail later, right? So it is being published, there are objections which are being raised, there are different committees at times formed, they do the research, they bring up with a lot of modifications, they are being done. So the process is huge and tedious, right? So that cannot be done so easily. So what they did is, they said, fine, we are giving you a structured rule book, but the ground level, that which form has to be filed, when do you file this form, who needs to file this form, how much fee are you going to charge for filing this form, all these details, all these like things, which keeps on changing a lot. Well, central government or the ruling government through its ministry, who is actually enforcing, they are saying that okay, we need this information also, so file this form also. So for enforcing the structured law, a lot of rules also need to be made, right? A lot of rules also need to be made. These rules are being made by Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So when I say we are going to start reading company law, I say we are going to read Companies Act 2013, which is being passed by Parliament. We are also going to read Companies Act. There are a lot of rules. So I would simply write company rules, Companies Act rules. Fine. There are different names, okay, which is being made by MCA, and there could be few judgments also, the case laws. Okay, so basically we are going to read this. Now, Companies Act has a lot of sections. Companies Act is divided into 29 chapters. There are 470 plus amended sections minus deleted sections. So originally it came up with 470 sections. Now we have way more sections, right? But we don't have to read all those. What is there in our syllabus? As I told you, Companies Act is divided into 29 chapters. The first 7 chapters, they are included in your syllabus. So first 7 chapters means starting from section 1 till section 122. After that, there are some provisions, some sections of chapter 11 which relates to directors. There are some sections, basically section 179, but I'll tell you a few things more, right? Relating to meetings of board and its powers. Then there is 197 section which talks about appointment and remuneration certain part, right? Then there are few sections under the chapter of operational and financial control, right? There is rights of shareholders, and then there is KMP, that is key managerial personnel. So this basically is your syllabus when we say corporate laws or when we say Companies Act, which is 40%. So roughly 40 marks is being asked from this particular content. Okay, so we will start with the basics, but in the next session, right? Thank you.